welcome to the Green Talk. I'm your host, Ms. Rain Mata, and today we will explore in the fascinating world of plant growth regulators. PGRs are an essential tool in this modern landscaping. They're playing a crucial role today, and they will in the future of the green industry. To help us to understand better how PGRs work, today we have two special guests, Jason Hellington and Francisco Cecilia from Rainbow Ecoscience, both experts in plant science and horticulture, and also good friends. Jason and Francisco, welcome to the Green Talk.
Thank you very much, Mr. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So, Jason, what's going on with all these seminars, education, trip, tour that you have going on in Florida?
Right? I mean, we were just on the most amazing tour in Florida. Francisco, myself, Michael Deemer. We had Jessica Bergeron, who's with our marketing specialist with our company, who came down from Minnesota. We had Mark Lucas, who's a national account rep for us with landscape companies, and he flies all over the country. But he was able to come down. It was amazing, Mizram. You didn't have a chance to come down. I'm sorry. We would have sent you a personal invitation and a flight if we could have, because we love having you there so much. But it was a wonderful experience. It was a lot of work up front. I think if anyone who's ever done that kind of thing before, putting on seminars, events, think you put a lot of effort into it and you hope people show up. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But you still have to put on a good show, and you have to give them, value, for what they're coming. Their time is valuable, right? So you have to give them the value back in education and just teaching them what it is they're coming to learn, right? So making sure you're doing that in a nice, productive way. And I think we executed that beautifully. Francisco did a lot of speaking. He's one of our good speakers on plant growth regulators and our herbicides. And really, he's becoming quite proficient in all of our protocols, so that he can, be that person to speak for us at these events and really get the message nailed home. So he did an amazing job. So we had a great time with everyone. I could go on and on about that, but it was a wonderful experience.
Great. How many stops you had in this whole trip, tour?
Francis, I don't want to keep talking.
Oh, well, no, happy to share that. Of course, thank you, Ms. Ren, again for having us here. It's pleasure working with you, and also at the same time be able to do this awesome activity of participating in your podcast. But we had 4 seminars in these last 2 weeks. We started in Tampa 2 weeks ago. Started sharing with that crowd there. It was the first seminar in the Tampa Bay area. We ended one in Jacksonville. It was our first time there. We did a really great turnout from the customers and new people, new faces that showed up to learn about what we do and what we have to offer to the industry, and as well to learn from great professionals that we are blessed to have, and University of Florida working with IFES. They provide a huge value to our industry. We were able to all learn from them and see what they are doing and what they are working for us in the future. So they are really committed. They allowed us to be part of their teams using their facilities, and they were very welcoming. So we definitely appreciate how IFES and the University of Florida works with us at Rainbow. And just like with many of our customers that support us by showing up to the event, listening to what we have to offer, being open to learn. That's the key part for everyone, is take advantage of this type of event, whether it's ours or University of Florida or any extension agent locally to their state. They do offer a lot of value to what is going on in the industry, what are the new challenges, and how to tackle them. So please do that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, a lot of work, but I'm pretty sure everyone that attend had a good time and learned a lot from you guys. So before we start talking about PGRs, I want to people get to know you guys better, in case that for many people is new about hearing about Rainbow the first time they hear Francisco or Jason. So Francisco, what's your role? What's your current position at Rainbow? What you do at Rainbow Ecoscience?
So my role is has a fancy title, horticultural specialist for the Southeast. What I do for Rainbow and for our customers in the industry here, not only on the Southeast but throughout the United States, I collaborate doing research with our products, but on real life situations. What I enjoy the most of my job is I bring our products, our protocols that we develop, and we put them to work in real life situations like our customers' properties. And so they not only get to see the results, but they do get to see the value of that protocol, how they can use it, making sure it's profitable for them. And many times it's not even about how to apply the product or how to use it, but how Jason and I were having a great conversation in this last couple of weeks. And one of them is understanding how we can incorporate each of these protocols and actually make profit while actually solving a problem. Because many times that's one of the biggest roadblocks that the industry faces is how do we integrate that into our business model? How does it fit the business model? And how can the operations team implement it? Well, we still have a positive bottom line at the end of the year, of course.
Great. What about you, Jason? I'm sorry, Francisco, but
so another part of what I do for Rainbow and the industry is I do a lot of education, a lot of training, whether it's speaking at seminars like we did last couple of weeks. I do a lot of Spanish speaking in Texas for with ISA events. So I had a great experience with them teaching about decay. Not only I learned tremendously about that topic, I was able to influence the industry and help them understand what that is about. It could be a little complicated, but every time that we teach something, I focus on trying to make it operationally making sense. So just with simple common sense, we can use those complicated terms some days. So
that's great. There is something that you don't do at Rainbow, Francisco?
No, I try not to sell. So that is not my role, but I still do it. So yes.
All he means is he just doesn't take the order. He sells. We're all salespeople, right? We're all selling ideas mainly. At the end of the day. We're trying to sell someone either our vision or our idea or something like that. Something we have worked out in life that we know works, and we want someone else to take part in that. That's all we're doing, right? Whether it's education, it doesn't really matter what it is. What? So he's a great non-sales salesman.
Yes. Well, you could say that, yes, of course, but once you grow into the landscape maintenance industry, there's no like this one hat that you wear all the time. You wear 20 hats throughout a day in any given situation, and you experience that very much every day as well, Ms. Ram. It depends what's in front of you. It's a matter of how do we solve a problem, whether it's safety or attending to a customer need, attending to your employee, your coworker, your boss as well. So there's many hats that you have to be able to shift around throughout the day. This technology that we're talking about here today, it helps create time to be able to do that and not having to change as many hats throughout the day. So that's one thing that I enjoy about PGRs.
Yeah, 100% right. Jason, what about you? What's your main role in Rainbow Ecoscience?
On my business card, it says territory manager. What I feel like I am is I bring consultative knowledge to, landscape organizations, plant healthcare people, tree healthcare people, because that's what Rainbow really represents. We come from a place of research and science, and we build protocols like Francisco was talking about, how he helps with our research team and helps do all that work, the legwork and everything that makes our product so special and wonderful. There's a lot of brain power going behind that and physicality as well. And you're out there, in rainstorms and you're checking this and you're doing that, and it's all part of it. So, when we finally get to the point where we have a product that we know works because we've tested it to the moon and back, and we're comfortable putting a stamp on it, a Rainbow stamp on it, and have a protocol, a blueprint ready for your company to be able to take that product on, we are very comfortable at that point in explaining to you, hey, Mizram, here's a new product that you may not know about. Here's what we find that it does in the real world. We want you to find the same thing. So we're going to explain to you exactly how to use it, how we have found it to be the most successful, so that you, Mizram, and your company can now take on this protocol, take on this service as an upgrade to your company, and then build something greater than what you already have. And we want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of what's greater, and we want to see you build that, and we want to help you build that. So as a territory manager, I am more consultative in the way that I would work with you, Mizram, to say, let's find out where your weaknesses are and then see what we can bring as Rainbow Ecoscience. And by the way, it may not be a product we sell. It may just be something, a methodology we've created, and we call those protocols in our company. So we may have discovered something that works by mixing this with that, and we don't make any of those, but we know it works. So we will bring that to you as a solution, and that's fine too. Whatever gets the job done efficiently, productively, and profitably and safely.
Yeah, important.
That's what we're all about. So I feel like I was with a gentleman today over in Naples, and he tells me we're riding in this cart and I'm filming, because you know me, I'm going to film everything, right? So I'm over there looking at this bougainvillea and I'm doing some filming, and he says, while I got the camera going, he says, Jason, I could never imagine doing anything more fun than what I do. I love my job so much, is what he's telling me. And I'm getting this on camera. And I said to him, I said, David, I feel the exact same way. It's the most fun I've ever had, because I get to utilize 3 decades of experience in this green industry as a manager in the green space world. I had a landscape maintenance cruise. I had tree crews. I had a golf course maintenance. I had spray crews. I had all of that. And that experience is now I'm able to give it back. And that's very rewarding on so many levels. While I was with the gentleman, he's like, Jason, I recently became a tree risk assessment qualified with the ISA. Been an arborist for a very long time. Not a practice. I don't cut trees, but I like to understand the knowledge behind it, like why we need to do these things and how to do it properly. Right. So he brings me to an oak tree that's having some problem. I'm going to be showing Francisco the pictures later on to see if he's seen this before. But he brought me in as a consultant, even though he's a TrimTech customer. He brought me in a consultant on some other issue that may have nothing to do with what Rainbow can solve or not. But he respects the resource, the knowledge that we can bring as a company. I said, man, let me take some pictures, run it through my network. We'll have an answer probably pretty soon. Yeah. It's always a wonderful, wonderful thing to be able to provide anybody, but especially if it's your client, who appreciates it back. And so, territory manager is the title. But I really feel more like a consultant, and that's really, in a long sort of nutshell way. I think we all do wear a lot of hats. Francisco's right. It's I tell you, this company, Rainbow Ecoscience, they do a good job of letting you drive in your lane and do your thing and try to make the best of it as you can. And one of the biggest things Francisco and I do, no matter what our titles are, is to make sure everyone knows what Rainbow does in Florida, in South Florida. Francisco does it around the country, but I'm in South Florida, and people just don't know who Rainbow is. You mentioned before, who is Rainbow? We have to let them know. We didn't grow up here. We are from the Midwest. Our home base is Minnesota. I'm a Florida native. I grew up in Clewiston, which is south of Lake Okeechobee. I'm a redneck from there, but no one knows who Rainbow is, right? So getting that message out is extremely important and very rewarding at the same time.
Awesome. And it is really important that both of you and different, same fields kind of deal, but different paths are creating those relationships with the companies and with the users of the products and in the industry in general. And also, I should add, Jason, that you are a great, marketing person. So I'm going to post here your link, whenever we post this on live, so people can follow you up on LinkedIn, and enjoy the videos and good information. Same with Francisco, but yeah, we all wear many hats in the field, and we're trying to create those good relationships. It's important. Awesome. Well, now let's try to narrow a little bit our paths and our thoughts. Let's talk about PGRs. So, Jason, could you explain us what is a plant growth regulator and how they work?
I'll give you the quite simple version. Francisco may give you a bit more of a scientific version, but that's fine. we see plant growth regulators as a tool, basically, that you can use at this point to maintain productivity in a way that you never could before. And what we're saying is when we're using plant growth regulators in the landscape market, woody ornamentals, right? All your shrubs, all of those long hedgerows are miles and miles long and they're 10 feet tall. And it's a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of danger to have to deal with. How can you mitigate all of that out of your life? Plant growth regulators. So they've been around for a very long time. This one particularly, the active ingredient for the one we have in TrimTech, paclobutrazol, happens to be the most popular one in the whole world. Always, has been for quite some time. Was discovered back in the 1800s. And, it's a marvel that we have these technologies in our world that, are so beneficial in so many ways and so few people know about them. And it's, fun for me. It's the most fun I have is talking about TrimTech, because of what it does in the world for people, for the environment, for your shoulders at the end of the day. Instead of having to handle 30-pound head shears that are vibrating and gas smelling and dangerous all day long. And now we're talking about hand pruning, something elegant, something easier on the human body. And yet we don't lose the shape that these clients want of their plants. They want a certain shape. Well, you can either do two ways. You have to trim the hell out of it, or you have to do it from the inside. And we choose to do it from the inside because of all the benefits, right? We can go on to those benefits forever. You're a great proponent of this product yourself. You're an expert yourself in this. So plant growth regulators, plant growth regulators are just process or materials, in this case a molecule that speaks with the gibberellic acid hormone for us in this particular case, and the abscisic acid hormone. So two plant growth hormones that are in the plant. We're just sort of triggering them in different ways to either respond or not respond. In this case, not so much respond in cellular elongation, which makes the plants grow really fast, vegetative shoot growth. So we want to maintain a shape without all that vegetative shoot growth. The only way really to do it non-mechanically is from the inside of the plant. And that's what plant growth regulators do for us. And that's just one answer. There are many, of course.
Yeah, for sure. It's just being a little bit simple. Francisco, any comments?
Yes. One version that I like to share with everyone that I started educating on plant growth regulators, or with the acronym of PGRs, is that this is just a tool that is used to, whether it's on the agriculture or the landscape industry or agricultural industry, is to manage hormones in a plant. Depending on what you are trying to achieve, you choose the type of growth regulator that you are needing to apply to that plant as well. So in our industry, we are trying to manage elongation of shoot growth in the plant material. So we're trying to suppress that to keep plants looking really nice for a longer period of time consistently. And key word for me is consistency on evaluating the results of plant growth regulator in the process.
Great. Also, so now talking about real life. Let's say I have my company. I'm a landscaper. I have a lot of work to do, spring season, summer. Jason, could you give us an example of how a PGR can be used in the landscaping? How a PGR will benefit me on my daily basis work in the field?
Sure. So I'm assuming what you mean by that is how can you improve your productivity, your efficiency by using a PGR, right? That's what you're going at. Well, that's really what we use them for, right? Exactly, in the landscape maintenance world. But also we do it for, value for the client, like quality of what you're providing, the service you're providing. Not only can you just, come in and out of there with more silence, more stealthy, be more quiet, not needing all these big loud power tools and things like that, but you're going to produce a better product at the end of the day. The reason plant growth regulators are so successful, and I think a couple of years ago, they're around the $4 billion market, and they're supposed to be $10 billion in the next few years, because floriculture, number one, is completely permeated with it. And the reason you see all these beautiful flowers and all in nurseries, and you see them when you walk into grocery stores and they're all perfect and beautiful, is because of plant growth regulators. And so you're able to now give your client that that perfect look, everything the same, everything flowering beautifully, the deep green look, all the stuff that plant growth regulators are used for in the production world. And when they sell us these plants, they already are in there for most case, all of them almost, because they want to give us the best possible looking product. Like they need to sell it to us. It needs to be attractive. So they're using plant growth regulators to do that. Why not just shift that over into the landscape market and allow someone like you and your company to produce the same high quality plants across the spectrum for your whole market, for all your clients, so that they feel like they're getting it right off the shelf in the florist, building, right? Because it's just that good of a thing to not cut plants so frequently. It's that healthy for the plant. It will just show you all of its good color and health, and it will just be so much stronger inside and out, and you will see it. Just like us, when we're eating good and taking care of ourselves, it shows, and same thing with plants, right? And so if we're not constantly harming them and shearing them and wounding them, they will show us their true colors. No pun intended. So to help you in your business, yes, you're going to pull a lot of labor out of your job. That's what it does. It doesn't allow for that growth to happen. So your client will be happier with less physical labor being done to their plants, less cutting of their plants. And they will end up with more healthy plants that look better. And that's what we want at the end of the day. Plus, you're going to be more quiet working around their home. Because again, you're not going to need these big power tools. And then there's the debris factor to consider, right? So you're not going to have to deal with a whole lot of debris management because we're going to reduce we're not going to grow the plants in the first place. We're just going to keep them the way you want them for as long as we can. You're just going to go in and make little tips here and there and keep them nice and perfect. And that's it. So you're going to pull some labor savings out of that. You're going to replace that with liquid labor, which in this case is trim tech, and you're going to just make that swap for your client, and they're going to end up with a much better product at the end of the day because they're getting what floriculture's been doing for 100 years and selling us, that beauty, right?
Pretty flowers.
You can sell it to your clients.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 100%. So, talking specifically about safety. Safety is a huge thing for any company, any landscaper out there. So how the use of PGRs, Francisco, it is safer for the user, for the landscaper, for the client, and also for the environment. How it will help to this?
Okay, so yeah, safety is a paramount for most companies that we work in. It's like the number one thing we want to make sure, not that we come back safely to our homes, but that everyone that is around us while we are doing any type of activity goes safe home. So we don't want to create an incident that is going to impact somebody's life. So this product, in this case, let's talk about TrimTech specifically, is a product or a plant growth regulator that's going to help you reduce the exposure in the environment by not needing to prune as much or as long every time you do it. So if you are able to offset 50% of your time spent in that specific activity, you are going to reduce the exposure on hours. So there's a coefficient that is used on the industry to measure our safety. And that coefficient is very important to keep it real good. That affects your insurances, affects bonus structures for the employees, affects it could affect directly a family in a not in a great way if it's not addressed properly. So this plays a huge role in that. Plus, it reduces the cost of insurance payments when you do have an incident. It becomes very expensive. So just one incident could represent the complete use of that PGR in your operation. So how do we affect the environment? We reduce waste, so we are not contaminating the environment. That's the number one thing. You reduce. There have been studies done that show anywhere from 50% to 80% of waste reduction, and I'm talking physical waste. In addition to the time you spend managing that waste, because in reality, majority of the time that we spend when we do our services of pruning is managing the debris that one person caught. We could have 2 or 3 other people just managing that debris, like blowing it from underneath the shrubs, taking it out to the turf area, somebody else raking it, and somebody else carrying it to the truck. And then somebody has to come back and clean up all those other areas to make sure everything is clean. So there's a lot of time that we spend doing that. How about if we change that to just grab a small bucket, a pair of hand pruners, and just walk along the hedges and clean up what is standing outside the area? Because all we are doing here is fixing defects. That's at the end of the day what the customer hires for, is to fix defects on their property to keep the quality or the consistency of that shrub so it's attractive. So either we do it by using gas shears with a lot of noise and producing a lot of debris and spending a lot of resources to manage that debris, or we invest in implementing a tool like a plant growth regulator to offset the amount of labor needed for that practice. But there is a huge impact outside safety. It also improves the quality of your job when you intend to, with intention. There's always have to be an intention to it. You can use the advantage of that labor to improve the quality of the site. When you do improve the quality of the site, they become very attractive. Not only they are clean, because that allows you to take time from pruning to actually removing low-hanging limbs on sidewalks, cleaning palm fronds that on markets that you have palms, so they are not falling off or are on the grounds. You can clean them up. That improves your safety for pedestrians. You are able to keep hedges away from sidewalks. I was in a community last year with Jason where it's a 55 plus community, 1,000, 2,000 homes in this community. It's miles inside the gate to get to the other end of the community. And they have one-way streets with a small median with hedges planted, kid you not, about a foot from the road. And it's only one lane. And then the sidewalk is sort of wide, but not wide enough to fit a golf cart and a bicycle in many cases. And you have a lot of bicycles going, a lot of pedestrians. And they have plants like Elaeagnus, firebush. They are really fast-growing plant material that in a matter of a couple of weeks, they are inside that space, which can create issues for safety for the pedestrian. So that's how you impact safety, using these products to offset the growth, keep that on place, and in between your frequencies. Because yes, you have frequencies of maintenance, but what the real problem is, how do you manage in between frequencies that you are not contracted for?
Yeah, great information. Great information, Francisco. Thank you. And Jason, bottom line, any company out there doing business, well, they're there just to make money, right? We all want to make money, make good profit. So how the use of PGR can help a company to be more profitable, be able to make more money, or be more smart on the way they're using the resources they have.
Do you want me to show you an example?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Or just share the screen and pull something up here?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Feel free.
Let me see if I can pull it off. All right. Let me know if you got that.
Yeah, we'll see it. Yeah.
So here's Sarissa. And Sarissa, if you're not familiar with Sarissa in your part of the world, down here in Florida, it's becoming very popular. But it grows like a beast. So this is like 8 to 10 inches of vegetative growth after 12 weeks of growth. So it got trimmed. Nothing happened. No PGR on this. This is natural growth. This is with TrimTech. So it's still the same amount of growth, same 12 weeks of time that went by after it was pruned. It's just one grew back normally and one didn't need to grow really at all. This is really all that's left on that, to just one little tip. And now it's like a pretty long stretch. And that's right next to a road, by the way, like Francisco's talking about, right next to a road. As you know, measuring, you're going to get a deeper green color with PGRs. That's part of the whole, benefit process. So you get that here too. But that's Sarissa. So here's some video. How do you make money in a company? Look at the untreated side. How much time, effort, labor, cleanup are you going to be doing versus look at the right side. Tip, one little tip. And then maybe there's one more and then you're done. You're out. So we're talking about going from many, many minutes, let's say 30 minutes to even an hour on one, could be, to seconds on the right side, on the treated side. And that's really, I mean, at the end of the day, that's how you're making, that's how you're paying for the product. It pays for itself because you are going to pull that labor. You don't need the labor anymore to do that work. You can use them somewhere else where it's more profitable for you. And that's the beauty behind the product. That's one of them anyway. There are many, again, we could go, we could obviously go on and on because it's what we do. And it's my favorite product that I get to talk about. If I only had one product in life to talk about, I would hope it would be this, because it's just that powerful of a thing. And we're trying like crazy to get people to see how powerful of a tool this really can be, not just for your bottom line, but for your business's reputation. That's the key. Can you produce the highest quality product? You probably should try to mirror what the floriculture industry already has been doing to sell us plants. They've been doing it to us for years. Now we can give it back to our clients as an upgrade premium service without even, blinking an eye, and there's really no downside. I don't know if Francisco has found any, or if Mizram, again, you haven't talked about your experience with this product and you have a good deal of it. Have you found any downside to using this product?
No, not yet. Not yet. No, I mean, it's been great. I mean, everything you guys just talk about is, I mean, I'm a living proof of that. I mean, it is a great, tool to use in the field. And it does have a great, positive impact in all fields, less exposure to the teams, to tools, safety, and, also, be able to use labor and time and other areas of the property where probably we're missing details and things like that. So, 100% with you all is very important, and a great product as well. So it's a smart way to do landscaping, right? It's evolving.
Yes.
It's evolving technology that, many people, unfortunately, still don't know about it. That's why when I started this podcast and my list, I say I should talk, pretty soon about PGR, because honestly, it was new for me up to maybe 3-4 years ago when first, I was introduced to Tony Go, which is say hello to Tony and Patrick and then Francisco, and then the whole team. And since then it's just like becoming a really huge part of our program. So I said, more people need to know about this because it helps. It helps to deliver a better product, for the clients. And it makes a difference. Like you can tell who is using PGRs and who's not.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to determine that. So I appreciate Jason showing us that, those pictures and videos. Great examples of that. So we talk about how great the product is, how good is using PGRs. Now let's talk about challenge. So it's not easy, right? To implement something new, educate people, train people. So, Francisco, can you tell us a little bit one of the biggest challenges that a user is going to face when they wanted to implement this tool into the program?
Yes, absolutely. And I would like to call it that is more related to change. Human nature is always will refuse change. We are comfortable on what we know today and how we perform our services today. So let's start there. So first, we need to start with education, enrolling the team, because it's not only the applicator, the person that is going to apply that product. Actually, that is if you take a year, the applicator spends only 2 weeks out of the year, potentially 1 to 2 weeks out of the year, managing the trim tech process or involved in the trim tech process. When we are talking about the managing activities with trim tech, in reality, the biggest part is the rest of the team. So how do we start from managing our scheduling, our maintenance crew, letting them know that we are using a plant growth regulator to start with, and I'm still surprised some days that there's companies implementing plant growth regulators that are yet to talk to their crews. And once they do that, they completely improve their process within the company. And so just that's the one thing we help you is support you on that, creating that training for your crews or guiding you on how to do that. I'm a true believer of training the trainer, not only or teaching you how to fish versus giving you the fish, right? So we always need to strive to do that, learn the process, and teach others to be able to do the same, because that crew leader and that crew is going to be working with 5 other people, is going to be working with that new guy that is going to get to that job that gets hired next month. Enroll them, train them in the process. That's the biggest part of using any technology. We are talking about plant growth regulators here today, but if you are talking about herbicides, just implementing social technology, I remember back in the day, we were working with time cards that you had to fill by hand. Nowadays, you have a card that you scan and through your phone, and then you clock in and clock out through that. And now I see very different systems where you are actually using just an app to do that. You no longer need that physical card to do it. So it's very important to educate our teams as well.
Awesome. And Jason, in your point of view, what's one of the challenges that people will face implementing this tool?
Yeah, it's a great question, Misram. And I'm going to echo the same thing. It's change is the hardest thing, I think, for everyone. And there's a quote, it gets misrepresented to Charles Darwin. I don't think he's the one who said it, but it goes something like, it's not the strongest of the species, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that's most adaptable to change that survives. And, there's a lot of proof of that, throughout our world history. So change is crucial, to growth. And, I think the challenge I run into in my role, when I'm introducing this protocol, this, in my opinion, this magic, into new people's lives is they just don't believe it. They don't believe it's real. And so we spend a lot of time. I spent a lot of, yeah, I heard it took a few years to get you on board, and you'll have to tell us why. Was it because you tell me, why did it take a few years? Now that you know what you know that you wasted a couple of years, but why did it take you a few years to get into this?
Well, in my case was, I will say, a bad experience with other products, other PGRs that I tried in the past. I won't blame on the products. Probably it wasn't the right, I didn't get the proper training, education, enough information to do the work. But then once I had all that, really didn't see the results that I was expecting from them. So when I started hearing about this new product, I said, well, it's another PGR, right? And then it took me, like you say, I was a couple of years until I started seeing the results, the benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. And now that you've seen them, right? And so that's, for me, that's the biggest challenge is getting, and that, well, let me back up just a quick second. The reason I like to you see so much stuff from me on LinkedIn, I put these videos out and everything, is because it's my fastest way to communicate with a mass number of people what this stuff really does. And I don't know any other way to do it. And if I can't be there with you in person and point to something and show you the results, then I need to show you some other way. So I do a lot of video work. I do a lot of picture work. I do as many different perspectives as I can so that you, the possible consumer of this product, can understand what you're getting into. Like this is a whole ecosystem we're talking about. This can change your entire business from the ground up just because of shrubs. Just think about how much time a landscape company spends trimming shrubs. It's their full-time job. That's what they do. So, I mean, if you can mitigate, even like Francisco said, even only 50%, and we see better numbers than that, but we'll say 50% all day long. If you can mitigate that out of your trim crew, those hours, guess what now you have? You have new hours that you give to you give salespeople, say, hey, I'm going to give you 40 new hours next week. Go sell it. They will sell it, because you'll have it coming back. You'll have that labor. You have the ability. So it's, getting that sort of thought process going through a branch manager's mind or something like that, someone who makes big decisions all the time, they're very hesitant to step into something that's so grand, so large, without sitting back a while and just talking to other people like you did. Look, I had a bad experience one time, or I heard something. That's one thing I run up against. They heard from someone else, and that can shut them down right away because they trust that person. That person had a bad experience. They either did not apply it right or something happened, right? We know plant growth regulators work. They always do. So usually it's an applicator error or some other issue that's not controllable, but that usually gets a roadblock in the way of people's minds that, okay, I've heard about it. It sounds fantastic, but no, it's going to take a lot for me to get involved in that. And there's just a number of reasons for that. So that's the biggest challenge I run into. But for companies, the biggest challenge I see them run into is just making sure they're communicating internally on the process, because you're going to have a trim crew out there preparing plants, getting the way you want, and then you're going to have a spray crew usually out there spraying the plants, and they just have to be in line, in tune. But other than that, it's capacity. So I love this. I love the fact that one of their the biggest challenges is they just don't have enough people to spray as much as they want to spray. They would rather spray the product than go out and trim bushes, but they don't have enough people to spray it. They need more people to spray the product, which is a wonderful problem to have if you're the person who's, supplying the product. But not if you're the landscaper needing to get it done. So there's a shortage in the market in Florida right now. And if anyone's in South Florida listening to me, there are many, many, many landscape companies who want to get into the plant healthcare market, but they do not have the people who can come in to do the work. They don't have anyone willing to come in and do the work, or trained to do the work, or willing to go through the process of becoming a certified pest control operator. There's a huge shortage in this landscape market in Florida. Don't know about anywhere else for that specific role. And that tends to be a challenge when you need that in your business to be able to spray these products, right?
Yeah, it is a challenge. I mean, it was a challenge for us at the beginning. Once we saw the benefits, the results, we want to spray everything. Yeah. But then it's really weird. We have that power to do so. And then we start to be playing smart and do, the properties that they needed the most, or where we can get the more benefit. And so it's always a way you can play around and be able to still get the full benefit of the using of the PGRs. Something that Francisco mentioned that I really agree with, that is a fear of change, right? That's something that I personally have to face, where people were used to do things one way for so long that now tell them, no, you don't have to prune. It's like, what? It's like, I don't get it. I mean, it's something seems simple, but for so many people, it's like, why? I mean, no, I need to prune. And I'm talking about crew level, right? People that been in the industry for years, pruning, that now you tell them, no, you don't have to prune anymore, for 6 months or more. For them, it's like, what are you talking about? Right? So it is a challenge for sure. But once also, when the boots in the ground see the benefits of it, when they realize that they don't have to use those pruners that often, and all the issues with it, all the fatigue and everything, they also see the benefit. So I think for me, it's a win-win for everyone, in all fields, for sure.
I would agree 100%. It's a win-win. Yeah.
It's a win-win. Yeah, 100%. So, there is anything trending, Jason, you there are kind of in the market and just, always ahead of the game. Is any trends in the field of PGRs? I know TrimTech is kind of, changing the game in the industry. It is something new coming up, or you see something new coming up?
I mean, as far as PGRs go, I can't say that I do have anything in my horizons, but all I can say is, with what we have now, we haven't even scratched the surface yet. Like you said, not enough people know about this yet. And we are boots in Francisco, myself, Mike Deemer in Florida. We have many other people just like us throughout the whole country. And we're trying to get everyone to understand as much as we can what our experience is, what we have seen, what we have learned about this product and what it can do. I think the shortest way to get to that answer, to that goal, in getting this concept out to people in a way that they'll be willing to maybe adopt, is 100% through the education process. And what Francisco does really great job of, and I try to do it in my presentations, Mike, we all do, is we want them to understand the harm that's happening to the plants and the reduction in life longevity of the plants by pruning them all the time. Again, South Florida, Southern United States, we're pruning all the time, 10 times, 12 times a year. You may not be in Michigan. If you're listening to this in Oregon, you're probably doing it once a year. This may not apply to you. Okay. But if you're out there busting your butt and you just don't want to do that anymore, let me tell you, not only is this product good for that, it's good for the plant because you're not opening up those wounds as much. And we're talking thousands of wounds. So we can avoid doing all that. And that's the key. And that education, I think getting that into the mainstream public of what are we actually doing to these plants for our clients? Are we creating a situation where they will need to be replaced way too frequently and cost them money, or does bring too much disease into my landscape because I'm moving pathogens from one plant to another with my big head shears all the time? We can avoid all that stuff. That's the whole thing, right? That's the whole point. So getting that education into their minds, like there are other things that this is good for than just pulling labor out of a job, manual labor out of a job. There are so many more things. And, that's the challenge. And I think that's what gets me out of bed every day. And I know Francisco loves the hell out of doing it too. We all love talking about this product for the same reason you just did, because it works and we have proof of it. And we just want everyone to experience it because at the end of the day, it's going to help our landfills mostly when we're not putting, like I personally had an 80% reduction in debris in where I was using it in my previous life. And that's 80% not going to the landfill anymore. Now, multiply that. There's 50,000 HOAs in Florida. Every single HOA has a landscape company, if not 2 or 3. And they are all driving around those Isuzu NPRs that are holding about 14 yards of debris. And they're all leaving that every day, going to the dump and dumping that stuff. So this is piling up. And nutrient loading is a real thing. And when these piles degrade down into the soil, they become nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium in high amounts, high extreme amounts in one place. And that can really affect water tables. In Florida, our water table's like 6 foot down. You dig 6 foot, you're going to hit water. So these are just things we have to we have to think about. And we want to educate the client. We want to educate the people, the HOAs, the boards of the HOAs, all these people who are worried about their plants and looking good and plant health and all that stuff. If they are at all concerned about pollution, we can give them a way out of that. Have healthier plants, better looking plants, less pollution, less noise pollution around their homes, more peace and quiet, more lovely flowering, right? We all know this is what these things do. So it's beyond me. Of course, I'm biased because I'm on this side of the fence right now. It's beyond me why more people aren't just like going, my God, give me a pallet of that now. Like don't even try to prove it to me. I got it. I'm good. Let's go, because I'm wasting time by not using it. Like I'm wasting money. I'm losing money by not using this product right now. That's what you're doing. You're losing money. If you're out there doing it manually, that's what's happening. So us getting that information into people's heads, that's the most fun I can have because I believe so much in this product. Like it's through and through. I've seen it. I know it and through and through. So that's the fun I get to have in my job and why I love it so much.
That's great, Jason. And it is a true statement. You're losing money if not using PGRs, using TrimTech. That's a true statement for sure. Yeah. It is a smart, it's a different way, the smart way to approach landscaping. And, something that it is trending now in the industry is technology, right? When I'm talking about technology, I mean, outer mowers and, becoming, 100% electric on, 2-cycle equipment, things like that. But how do you see, Francisco, the future of the PGRs shaping the industry? So it's go hand by hand. This is part of the technology as well.
Yes. So the technology nowadays, and you mentioned it very well. So we have seen automowers grow up and improve their efficacy in the last year or two tremendously. So PGRs have been trending to do the same thing. We're all trending to develop more consistent products, find ways of even where to use it for other applications, because you could use it not only for growth regulation, but you could use it to improve plant appearance or improve the ability of plants to survive environmental conditions. That's a huge part of the use of PGRs nowadays is trending that way, where we are using our Cambistat products or our TrimTech to also help support the plant systems throughout. If we move into the turf environment, we also are trending that direction. We used to use a lot of growth regulators in the turf industry in the golf course side, and that's starting to bleed into the landscape maintenance side more and more. back in 2003, I started working with grow regulators to regulate aging on the turf, for example. But now it's trending more towards not only growth control, but the health benefits of the plant, making that plant stronger, be able to offset the need of fertilizers, the need of insecticides, the need of fungicides, because the plants are able to combat these environmental conditions from the beginning themselves without having us to be applying these chemicals. So it's an environmental friendly application. We are working on it, and believe me, on our end, you will be one of the first ones to know when we get there. So there's but it's work in progress all the time. We never stop looking for a better solution in the industry. I'm sure others that work are in the industry as well are also doing the same.
Yeah, great, awesome. Thank you.
Let me back that up real quick, because he probably won't tell you, but we're so serious about this. He's working on the next version of TrimTech. Like, that's something we work on. Like, we always want to improve. We don't just rest on what works. We know it can be better. Nothing's ever perfect, right? So there's always.
I know that. We tested it already.
We already go. Okay, shush.
It's a secret.
But it's wonderful that, to be in a company that doesn't just say, okay, we've got a winning product, let's just put it on the shelf and sell it that way forever. We don't do that. How much better can we make it? That's the key. And I love that about this company.
Yeah. And just kind of in the same line, Jason, just to kind of going to wrapping up this conversation, how you see the overall use of PGR shaping the industry in the future. It is kind of new now. Like we already mentioned it, many people don't know yet about the use of the PGRs, the use of TrimTech. So how do you see in general in the next 3 to 5 years the use of PGR shaping the way the industry is operating?
I think it's going to be a huge shift in the landscape industry. I think what not just us, by the way. I know there's other companies out there that sell PGRs. They're probably doing the same thing, or they probably should be if they're not, because I think if we're looking at this holistically, as we're one planet, we're one United States, we're one state, we're one city, however you want to look at it. If we're all in this together doing the right thing, it's going to work out for everyone just fine. And what we're always trying to show people in all of our presentations and our slides and going out and doing spraying demonstrations is look, human beings love symmetry. So for whatever reason we do, and we want our plants to be symmetrical in shape. And so as long as that's the case, if we're always going to want that, then we need to find better, more sustainable ways to produce that, because that's not sustainable the way we're doing it now by shearing, debris, waste, pollution. That's not sustainable. And we need to find ways for this industry to be sustainable. It needs to take care of itself, or it's going to go the way of, leaded gasoline or something like that. It's just not going to work out for us too well in the future. So I think this is a way to dial in what we're doing now, so that in the future, we have a better day in front of us. We have a better future to look forward to. I think I'm making it sound like bigger than it is in a way, but it's not. It's a lot of pollution. It's a lot. Unnecessary pollution. Unnecessary. That's the key. Unnecessary. So anything that's unnecessary should be eliminated. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do here. And I think the future of the industry is going to really be shaped by them understanding what we're out there talking about all the time, and you're doing yourself, and you're doing great work with what you're doing. You're spreading it as much as you can, because it's the right thing at the end of the day, where it's not about a product. It's about the result. What is the result we're getting? We're getting healthier, better looking plants without causing a lot of harm to the planet. And in fact, we're reducing the harm to the planet, exponentially reducing it. So isn't that a good thing? And I think the industry will catch up to that eventually. It's going to take them a while. People just don't want to change, like we talked about. And you have to really prove it. So, unfortunately, I love doing that. It's one of the things I love to do is let me just show it to you. Let me show you.
Yeah. And in reality, in order to get different results, we need to do things different. We cannot keep doing landscape the way it was done 50 years ago and want it to just get different results. It's just not. We need to innovate and just change the ways that we do landscape. That's 100% a true statement. Francisco, any final comments just to wrap up this session?
Yes. So you just mentioned a phrase that I love to use is we cannot keep doing the same thing expecting to get different results. So anytime we introduce a new protocol, technology, product in our operations, it's very important that we impact the culture of what we are trying to achieve, because that culture is going to impact the results at the end of the day. So if we don't work with that person that is doing the pruning and the properties, it's very important that we teach them how to do it with this new technology of trim tech that you are trying to implement. So that way they can be successful. We need to help them be successful. If you're introducing a new herbicide technology, it's very important that you educate the team to be successful. So, I mean, you were talking in your previous podcast, the second one that you did, was about procurement. And it was just based a lot on relationships, but in how that team works together, among those relationships to be able to be successful is communication, at the end of the day. Same here. When you're utilizing PGRs on your business, it boils down to communication in between every single piece. It could be a regional manager. It could be a branch manager, account manager, production manager, or the guy picking up the debris on the property, the applicator. They all need to work together to be able to be successful. And once they do, they will achieve it every time.
Awesome. Thank you, Frank. Jason, any final comments to wrap up this session?
Nizram, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me. This has been an absolute joy. I've been looking forward to it all week since you asked, and I just can't thank you enough. And I just want to say I think the future is very bright for the landscape, for the green industry. I think we've got a wonderful future in front of us. I think all of our heads are in the right place as far as what we're trying to do in the future here. We all want to get on the same train. That's all. We're just a little scattered right now. That's how I see the market. And we're coming in line. But it's a big ship to steer, and it's hard to move that ship. It's a big business, right? A big industry. So we're just right now small little players in this, but I think eventually we're going to be pretty big fish.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thank you for saying that, Jason, and thank you, Francisco, Jason, for join me today in this episode. I really have a good time with you all. Personal note, thank you for all the support that you always show as a company and also as individuals to our operations, and also for my personal support every time I have a question or wherever I need you. I know always you guys are just a phone call away. So I appreciate for that. And hoping to see you guys pretty soon. Francisco, when you're around, just hit me up. It's always good to catch up in person. Same thing with you, Jason.
Thank you, Mason.
All right. We'll see you guys soon. Take care now.
Bye. Thank you.